think so. Are people familiar with doing like a positive, negative, and a delta in terms of evaluating maybe conferences or workshops you've gone to, where positives are things that you liked about the Co-op Academy, negatives are the things that you didn't like, and deltas are just changes, whether they're in response to something negative or just ideas you have in general for changing things. So I guess to start doing does anyone have anything that they really liked about the Co-op Academy that we can put into this positive thing? I know you're doing your written evaluations, but something for talking and discussing these things instead of just randomly writing them down.
I like getting the whole picture. I think that just invaluable to have a understanding of what it takes to.
Okay.
Learning alongside other co-ops.
Having people be able to explain financial statements to me the first time ever, that made sense.
Getting some one-on-one consultation with our books has been like super helpful. I guess like 5 months.
Understanding what a co-op actually means.
I think one thing for me was definitely learning about like the equity structures of like the money inside of the co-op and what really makes it that much different than like a regular business. The ways that you can do that.
I felt it was a well-crafted curriculum and a lot of good resources.
I like the food. Great space.
I didn't really participate in this as an auditor, but it seemed like the follow-up was really good with like weekly challenges, you know, and trying to hold people accountable to moving forward on things. But not with like too much pressure. I didn't do any of them, but
I thought the homework was really well targeted and like doable. You know, it wasn't just overwhelming every week. So you get it done.
So worksheets that you could fill in stuff, that was really awesome too, to have a challenge where we just did a worksheet. That made it really organized.
Do people have more positives, or should we go into the negatives? Because we're over time, or just go.
I think it was in the positive too. Everybody's still here. Like if we didn't have any co-op, then totally dropped.
I really like the real world examples, showing what from experience, or the example giving what to do when it's done.
I think the one wish that I had has already been addressed, which was to get more time to work on financials and marketing after we had time to do more research and on our own. So I think that I really appreciate the proposal from you guys. And I anticipate making use of our mentors. So those sorts of resources are really
talked about this a little bit, but maybe have a more explicit conversation towards the beginning of the academy about the difference between like a co-op and a social enterprise, like especially if there's a lot of nonprofits involved, like really be explicit about like maybe have that conversation that we had at the last session during one of the first sessions, maybe not the first one, but that wouldn't really apply if there's not nonprofits, I think.
Okay. Do you think that would have like cleared up some of the like where like maybe like Green Drive or your group or like the hot sauce group would be going because they were trying to differentiate that early on?
I mean, I can't speak for you guys, but
Yeah.
like my experience was that a lot clicked in place for me at the last session that had been like percolating a little bit, but that I hadn't really articulated to myself about like, oh, I don't think what we want to do is a co-op, you know, and that would have been helpful near the beginning, or maybe it is, but like, yeah, to be able to differentiate that and talk about the pros and cons of those two models.
But
To
then
help
you would
nonprofits
just,
clarify like what's your goal in starting and considering to start this. What were you thinking?
would you have stayed?
I would have definitely, yeah. I would have, but yeah, because I learned a lot and I think it'll get applied at some point, but I think it just clarified, the last session clarified for me that might not be how we like initiate what we're doing, but it might go towards that on a spectrum or something.
I would have liked to see a few more outside presenters and speakers so that we would connect with other resources around the region.
Yeah, I liked it when different people presented. I mean, I could take Stacy forever, but I thought it was nice when other people had an opportunity to also take on that role.
I think our call would have benefited from a more structured relationship with our mentor, like challenges pertaining to things to research with our mentor, things to ask them about.
Earlier setup with mentors would have been better.
Can I ask people if you'd rather that we covered fewer topics and more in depth, or that we covered all the topics that we did, even if we had to gloss over some of them?
I think it was less like the quantity of topics and more like sometimes it seemed like we're covering like many topics in one session,
Yeah.
and that is really hard for me. I would almost
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's hard to be like, okay, for the next 3 hours we're going to talk about finances
Yeah.
because my head might explode, but at the same time it's really like I feel like sometimes we're getting into something and then we would be like, all right, now we're going to talk about this other thing.
Yeah, so it's hard to switch gears.
Yeah.
And I think that was especially hard for us, like doing teachbacks in our co-op every week, because not everyone could be here every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so it felt kind of like we were trying to teach, like share with other co-op members like 3 or 4 different topics and try and do our homework together, which was challenging. So yeah, I think I liked covering all the topics we did, and I couldn't see cutting any of them out because this has been a really good like perspective, the whole thing, like, a wide range of topics, all that pertain to our co-op. But I think maybe for me, it's like the pace of it. Like if we could have focused really in on one thing at a time, maybe it would be a longer course or something.
Or maybe do the whirlwind tour and then do co-op 102 with more in-depth work on particular features.
Yeah, I think this was like it's hard to gauge those levels because all the co-ops are in different like spaces in development. So like maybe like like a co-op 101 whirlwind and then like a 102 might be, you know, what we want to focus in on meetups or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think for us there were some topics that were incredibly relevant that I wish we could have gone a lot more in depth into, and ones that weren't really relevant at all given kind of the type of enterprise we're doing as well as where we are in the process of things. So but I wouldn't say that those should necessarily cut because I think they were very helpful for other people. So yeah, that was a little tricky. And then one other thing to add was just around sections, so having better, like, more organized that way. And then also for weeks, because we unfortunately miss maybe like 4 weeks total over it. And I figure for those weeks that we didn't have someone there to get it, we don't have any of those handouts. I know I can probably find them somewhere, but I don't know. Maybe it's gonna take some time to go through and try to find that. So having a better way to, if you miss a session, have the handouts there and know where to put them and all that.
They are organized by session on the wiki.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would have been, for me specifically, would have been better if it was more time, like weekend, kind of like a Saturday, 6 hours, or I don't know. I feel like it was like a lot of short, but I think it's just the same thing that you were saying, like to have 1 week that would have been just 5 minutes. But I think also today was very much relatable to have the overview of the finances after all the other stuff that we have been doing and the exercises.
Okay.
Time for bed.
Put other ideas down on that sheet and say, let us know which ones weren't as useful for you. Even if you thought they were useful for others, it would be good to know. And the graduation, I know we were setting aside January 25th, but it looks like that is being pushed to maybe February 22nd. We will let you all know, and then we'll let you know again, probably the third time. You will know. And you will get certificates then. If you need them sooner for something else, let us know. Maybe we can get you